Hello and welcome to the Next 100 Days podcast. My name is Graham Arrowsmith.
And my name's Kevin Appleby. So, Graham, a few weeks ago, we had a Ukrainian guest on the show and we explored the world of graphic design. Now, today we've got another Ukrainian. And I think we can explore the world of software engineering and running a software consulting business from Ukraine in these troubled times.
Yeah, but Anastasia, way better looking than this chap. Just, and what can we say? I mean, she had some real style, but we've now got Marian, who's Seliuchenko. Welcome, Marian, to the Next 100 Days podcast.
Thank you, Graham and Kevin, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast together with you.
But all right, so you're not Anastasia, but don't worry. You are, I think, probably a second. Is it now the second Ukrainian guest?
Yes, a second Ukrainian guest, indeed.
It's a terrible time going on at home. You know better than we do, and we obviously want to wish you and everybody connected to you and your families and the people that you work with all the best. And let's just hope this damn silly war finishes soon. I don't care who wants to win. I just want it to stop. But basically, that's enough on that subject. Let's get to business. And well, you run a company called Unillence. Have I got that correct?
Yes, you got it correct.
And you actually you put together a bunch of almost like freelance or distributed engineers who can help businesses with their software development.
Yes, that's I would say that we focus more than on a freelance. We are trying to build a team that's a Unillence. It's not like we just connect. We just, whenever we have some need, we go to the freelance market. We actually hire the people and want to create the environment for them where they can, fulfill themselves, where they can feel, committed, motivated, and help them to develop. So that's how I see Unillence. And it goes, if we talk about Unillence as how we came up with the name, right? It was as one key word in Unillence is unity. And that means that all together, like, we can create really bold things,
When did you start the business?
So that was we started working on it at in the third quarter of 2021. And it was like the initial plan, how we're going to start, how we're going to, run it. And then in 2022, we actually set up the LLC, and we already had some business going on by that time, but we made it, all right, and set up the company. And we felt that this is the right moment to go. Of course, there was a moment when the full-scale invasion started, and no one knew what actually is going to happen. Like in few hours, we made a pause, and we also, were looking what to do next. But after some time, we realized that, we need to run this business, as this will be like one of the backbones of the economy going forward, right? The country doesn't stop living, and the economy doesn't stop running, and we are the ones who can actually, IT field is the one that actually can bring revenue during this hard time for Ukraine. So we decided, okay, we need to go for it. We need to keep going. We need to develop it, and become successful. So that's the story.
Well, I mean, talk about timing, though. I mean, you could have had better timing, but at the end of the day, you've got going in some of the most trying circumstances that you could even imagine. So it's a massive credit to you and to your colleagues.
Thank you, Graham. Yeah, it's challenging, definitely, for sure. But I think that all of our team is the guys are really motivated that this way, by running the business, by giving the work to the people in Ukraine, by bringing the revenue, and by providing really good value to our clients, we can this is our commitment, this is what we do.
So tell me a little bit more about the sort of projects that you undertake and who do you do them for?
So, well, we are one of the main group of clients that we focus on are the startups. And why we decided to go for that is that we have a very good experience working with this kind of people who have really great ideas, but they have not yet, done the software development, or they've done it a little, but they don't have enough time or resources to focus on the software development, and or don't know how to do it right, or actually need support. And with the startups, it's always you need to be like very flexible. You need to be as a consultant, as a service provider, as someone who does this work. With the startup, everything's changing quite often, because there is always an idea, but how that idea can be implemented in real life might change as it develops. So it's not like, you're going to come and say what you want to, and you're going to ask a client, hey, what you want to do? And they will tell you, I know exactly what I want to do. They know, they have an idea, but the final implementation might quite often really, differ in the end. And this is where we are trying to work very closely with with the startups and be very flexible, and not like pushing back if there is no clarity or there is no accurate requirements or details. We are trying to be there for them, and actually, if there is some uncertainty or or decision to make, we are there to consult them, to advise from our experience, from our expertise, from our subject, from our domain. And this is where we actually focus. And that, primarily we've been focusing so far on the e-learning industry, but we're also like, want to go into the other industries. I mean, invest more like healthcare, like fintech, and provide our services to customers in that industries.
You have on your website mobile development. So are apps a kind of important part of what you're delivering?
Yes, of course. So that's the mobile applications, the web applications. I think that nowadays, right, whenever it's a small, medium, or large business, mobile applications, everyone has mobile phone, right? And you're not. I think that a lot of people actually first if they want to access some system, they will do it via their phone and not via their browser, because you need to open your laptop, to sit at your workplace. Phone is where you always have it with you. So mobile apps is one of the important parts of this program.
So when it comes to developing an app, they can get quite involved and quite complicated. So are you almost becoming the masters of the minimum viable product? So you basically get enough for them to prove to their investors they're making progress, because they're startups, aren't they?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's one of the things that we do, right? If there is a need to build this MVP, then of course we focus on building that MVP. But then again, if MVP is ready and it needs extension or improvement with new features, then we also can take it from there and and help them develop it to the next stage. So yeah.
Is it really difficult to do this? Because I mean, I don't know with you, Kevin, but at my age, I'm not going to be learning stuff like this. I mean, I'll leave it to Marian and his crew. But I mean, it must be quite challenging doing this.
Well, that's I would say that any job is challenging, and software development as well. And in this regard, I guess the most important is really to understand, especially when you're starting, right, and you want to build an MVP and then you want to bring it to the market. You need to understand what will be the key features that will make your product fly, right, and decide how those features will work. So if you open the app, as a user, what you're gonna see, what you're gonna click, what it's gonna give it to you, right? So from the product design standpoint, that's a lot of work, and then it takes having all that information defined. Then you can take it to the technical, to the software implementation and testing and coding, where the practices, we usually follow like the best practices on the that are available on the market. But at the first step, sometimes, it's quite it's interesting when, you want to have everything in this MVP. You want to have that feature and this feature and that feature, but not quite enough resources. I mean, time, cost. So sometimes you have to make a compromise how you're going to do it. And maybe you're going to focus on one specific and make it perfect. Or maybe you're going to have two, but, make them more simple. So that's why I'm saying about flexibility. You have to be as a developer, as a consultant for this kind of customers, you have to be like very, very flexible and help them actually sometimes make this decision, right? Yeah. Again, from the technical standpoint, because sometimes implementation of one feature can take code and testing might take longer than the other one, and you need to decide which one's gonna actually bring more value, if you estimate it from the cost perspective. So that's a lot of communication that needs to be done on a regular basis, very closely. And this is actually what a great part about this, because this communication actually allows to build very close and effective teams, that don't have a lot of overhead in terms of management and in terms of some processes. The team is working very closely, they're exchanging ideas and thoughts every day. It's very dynamic process, and I think this is what actually drives me about working in this kind of setup.
If I didn't know anything about you and all I saw was 4 words, Unillence, and then your strap line, I would think and now what you've told us about your business, I would think that that's a really, really well thought through strap line. And what I mean by that, you've got dream, unite, and act. Now, if you're dealing with startups, you've described it really well. They don't always know. They've kind of got an idea. The idea might be as sophisticated as we need an app, and that might be it. But there'll be others who will be further along the line, and we've had people on this podcast who are further down that line. But the app itself can be really, really profitable for people if they can get something to work in a particular market. So, do you have any clients, even at this early stage, where you think you have contributed to the dream, you've helped them unite around a plan, if you like, and then you've started to take action? Is there somebody in your mind in the last sort of 12 months or so that you've been working with, you think, yeah, we have done that, and it looks like they could potentially be the winner?
Actually, we recently delivered a platform. It's in the e-learning industry for our customer, and it's online, it's there, and it's being used, and they're thinking of more and of the next stages and next steps, how they can boost it and bring even more users to the platform. There are ideas for the new features. So this is, I think, it was a very good case where we built a really, really great team that I really enjoyed working with. So I think that Unite worked very well for us at the very beginning. We managed to build a team that was quite, very good communication. Everyone was very committed and excited about the product. It's also, not only, it's really important that the team is also, who is developing the application, the product, is also excited about the product, right? It's interested in about what the product is gonna give to the users. And I think that we found there a great match across all of the stakeholders, and it was very interesting to work on. So that we have one case that
good.
Yeah.
I mean, about you, Kevin, you use people like Unillence, don't you?
Yeah, we tend not to use people at the moment, like Unillence, we tend to try and buy things that are out of the box, but I can see the need in the future as the business moves on and we need some things that are very specific, that this is a real area that we need to look at. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But Marian, thinking about what you're doing here, there's a team of folk that are building this stuff, working very closely together. You're working very closely with the client, who is not in Ukraine most of the time. But the country is in a very, very difficult situation. So what sort of daily challenges have you got in the current climate of war, carrying on what appears to be a very normal development business?
Yes, I would say that there are challenges, and we are looking for the ways to overcome them. So, for example, right, last year at the I think that December, January, there were Russian hits Ukraine with the missiles, and especially the electrical infrastructure, which actually put at risk the ability of people to have electricity at their homes, charge their laptops, have the internet. And that was like, everyone was like, whoa, what we're gonna do? And we found a way. For example, we purchased power banks, batteries. We rented an office with a power generator. We a lot of people, a lot of companies in Ukraine, and I know even individual engineers, bought a Starlink and had their dedicated channel for communication. There were the industry of optical internet providers had boosted at that time, because it didn't quite require electricity to operate. So a lot of people started to engage, setting up the optical internet connections to their homes and offices. And the process was so fast, and I would say agile. It was adapting so quickly that we actually last year, December and January, it was one of the it was really intensive time for us in terms of we had several projects running, and there were a lot of communication on those projects. And I don't remember that we had any issues with connection or people not being able to connect to the meetings ever. We were always present, always doing the work and delivering the value. And so I guess that was one of the challenges that we really faced. But of course, you cannot deny the fact that sometimes there are air alarms in Ukraine, and there is a risk that of a missile launch from Russian territory, right, that can hit pretty much any home or office, right? But again, there are facilities for it. There are shelters and people know the rules, and people can monitor what is happening in the real time, and they can hide. And from what I've seen, people that, for example, our team, we if there was, for example, some time that we couldn't work during I don't know, during the day for an hour or two, those people were ready to work later or the next day or the other day just to finish the work and to bring the value. We never try to put limits on the people in terms of you have to stay in the office or stay in front of the computer from 9 to 5 or 9 to 7. It's not working. It's not, our philosophy is that here we really care about the people, and if they, and we trust them. If they, the most important is that first of all they're safe, and then that they can, deliver, do the work and deliver the value. And they, because of that trust, they feel committed, and they, take the time whenever it takes to finish the work and to deliver the result. And we never had a situation where we had to fail the deadline or something. So I'm really grateful to the people that I worked with on those teams this year and last year, that were always there, were always available, and they're very brave, and I'm thankful for them. To them.
Your clients, as Kevin indicated, are many of them from outside of Ukraine?
All of them outside of Ukraine. And, I don't think that in this situation we should be, some kind of hiding or be afraid to tell what is going on. As long as you know what measures you will take and how you're going to take it, and you discuss this with your customer, I think that should be okay. As long as everyone's safe and we can do the work, we want to do it. So
I really like the fact that you have, as a team, come together to have a mentality that you will find a solution to problems that other people just don't have. Other people take it for granted that the electricity is going to be on. And you've figured out ways in which you can, I think you use the word agile. You've got a mental agility to find solutions. And doesn't that speak really well for your services?
You can say that, yes. I would say that's true, and this is one of the parts which works very well as with the startups again, right? The agility here is a key. I think that one of the things that I've learned, as I was a software engineer, and then I switched to the project management, and I was like, I was kind of a little everything, like, as a manager, you cannot expect that everything is going to be running all the time very well, right? As soon as you relax, something's going to come up you don't expect, right? And you have to be like, you might be trying to prepare to anything, if you can, of course. But the other thing is you can just be ready. You can just be ready to anything. And when anything comes up, you just, okay, I sit down and think what I can do in this situation. And I think, like, Ukrainians during this time, they have developed this skill pretty well.
Well, I mean, Anastasia actually came from a town, was about maybe even an hour away from where you are. So it's on this western side of Ukraine. And although you're probably not on the front line, you're pretty close to it. And as you said, missiles can reach anywhere. So there are some thoughts in our minds of people that we now know, like you now and Anastasia, that we basically, Kevin and I, care for, because you're part of the team now. Effectively, you're part of the next 100 days. We'll always cherish you being here. But the thing is, I think all of this challenge that you've got is going to make you infinitely better than the next software development team who have not faced this. Don't get me wrong, they'll have some skills, but the skills that you've got in people's heads who are working with you will get you through just about anything. And I think if you can train and develop that during this period, when it ends, and it will end, when it ends, you'll be in a way better position to go out there to the world and say, didn't even survive. We not only survived this, but we thrived, and we want to be your partner of choice.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And it's sad that we have this war, and it's a tragedy for us and for people in Ukraine. But that's, I agree with you. In the end, when we're gonna go through this, we're gonna be stronger, and this will be a good foundation for growing our economy, for giving more work to people, and this is what again motivates us all.
Good.
Yeah. Is there a possibility, Marian, that the letter could drop through the letterbox tomorrow and say, hey, forget the software business, off down the front line, here's a gun?
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Well, let's hope that is pushed back a little bit, and let's just hope that you can swerve, because you are of the age that you're going to be drawn to the front if that's required. But let's hope let's hope other minds come to the fore and resolve this quickly. Without talking about my favorite politician in America, I think there is at least one sound mind over there who wants to end it quickly. But anyway, beyond that, going back to the range of services, and this is what boggles me. You've kind of got custom software engineering, front end development, which probably means something to somebody. I don't know what you're going to do with Kevin's front end. It's a bit beyond repair, if you ask me. I don't know. Quality assurance, DevOps, cloud solutions, mobile development, which we've talked about, blockchain, and then UI UX, which is all about, I suppose, the way in which people go through websites and all that kind of stuff, I guess.
Right.
But I mean, do you have a favorite?
If I have a favorite, I guess my favorite my favorite would be, actually, we also have, in addition to the technical expertise, I guess my favorite, of course, since I'm coming from the backend development, I would vote for the backend development.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would say that all of those expertise are important nowadays if you want to build a very good product. You cannot go just with a single expertise and just expect that you will have the final product. You need the back end, you need the front end, you need QA, you need DevOps and all other like additional, like, for example, requirements management, business analysis. And depending on the size of your project and the team, project management, right, to run all of that.
Are you the guy, though, in Unillence who actually deals directly with the startup clients, etc., whether that's in e-learning or health or whatever? Are you the one person who picks up the phone or speaks to them on Zoom or whatever to actually gauge what they require? Because I would imagine that when you bring back their requirements, you're met by people thinking, what? They want what? And I mean, do you have this? I've kind of lived a little bit of this because I worked in a business where we developed an online service, and it was quite, I was the guy saying, I'd like this. And the developer was saying, not in a million years, but we can do this. And it's that kind of tension, but somewhere along the line, that compromise occurs.
That's actually a very good question, and yes, I'm one of the people who are talking. We come to the calls. We're trying to understand what are the ideas and what are the requirements, what questions need to be asked. But at the same time, you brought a very good point about this. Sometimes this discussions with the developers and clients who want to do something, and developers can say, hey, it's not possible. I think that in this kind of situations, yes, they occur, of course, but it's a matter of how you approach them, how you resolve them. And I see those usually as we don't just tell the customer it's not possible.
Right.
If it's not possible, we of course tell it's not possible, but at the same time, we suggest a few options,
of course,
how we can go around it or make what customer wants, maybe in a little different manner, maybe in a little different way, but still, so that it's important what it's usually, what you want with something that you want to do, what you want to achieve, right? So if we understand good enough what a customer wants to achieve, we can suggest, and we should suggest, the ways how we can reach that, if not in an exact way that customer wants. So once again, I would say that here it's important close communication and understanding of what our client motivation behind each feature and each requirement.
Are you getting increasing requests to build artificial intelligence into the solutions that you're offering?
Actually, yes. Right now, we are facing the number of requests, and people are very excited about the latest trends in ChatGPT and other similar solutions. They're all based on language learning models, and they're interested into integrating these models into their existing products that can be used, for example, as an individual assistance or some kind of there is a lot also AI that helps to generate the content of different kind, and there are various ways to integrate those systems together to, for example, to create some dynamic content or to provide a value like individual as an individual assistant, or automate some routine work that was done by people on the teams, right? So there are this kind of ideas, and yes, people are actively working on it and excited about it. So, and we are right now, actually, we understand the need, and we are investing more into that expertise by taking our team and trying, beside when we have the capacity, beside the projects, we are investigating those systems, those APIs, and and trying to understand how they can be used in various solutions that clients need.
Okay, Kevin, you're kind of like, you probably have a slightly different view to AI than I do. But having said that, it's not something that you've screamed from your webpage, because presumably people are going to come to you and say, it's almost like you're creating a framework saying you're training your customers to think these sorts of things rather than AI, because AI is just a thing, and you'll apply it where it's sensible to apply it. But the key parts of all of this are things like blockchain, which to do with security, and all these other things that you do. The skill set that you've got to have got within your company and the team that you've built, do you actively go out to try and find people if you've got a problem with, I don't know, UI UX?
Oh, absolutely.
You would go out and find somebody, but they're going to come from Ukraine.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. If we have a need that an expertise, then we go to the market, and that's primarily Ukrainian market. One of the goals, right, why we are running, we want to give work to people in Ukraine, right? Yeah. And yes, so we can find pretty much, if there is a specific expertise that is required for doing the project, then yes, we're gonna go and find it, or we're gonna learn how to do it and do it. So it's not like, we're flexible in that regard.
So, Marian, we talked there just about AI and whether the client might want AI in their solution. Are you seeing changes in the way you develop code with new language models around? Are you still coding every line by hand, or are you getting assistance from the language models in terms of the development work that you do?
That's a very good question, and I think it depends. I think that this use of this language model is in terms of decoding, it's very different from engineer to engineer. We discussed this internally with our team, with our engineers, and some of them quite excited about, for example, using this, and they are, for example, sometimes using this AI to generate some code, and that they can, or some samples, or some routines that they would take time, that engineers would need to take time to develop, and it actually saves their time. But at the same time, if it comes to more complex problems like coding some big part of the functionality, then there should be. It's trickier, because what's been written by the AI, the code, you as an engineer still need to read that, to understand that, to build it into existing code base, right? And that will not always be an optimal solution, and not the style that you use, or not exactly not consistent to the naming or code conventions. So I think it can help at this point, and this is, I guess, right. That's my feeling from the experience that we've had. It can help you with a quick search for some solutions to some problems, to write some routines that can, like small pieces of code that can save you the time. But if it takes to design of the systems and writing, like, a business encoding the business logic, that still a lot stays in the hands of the engineers themselves, because they need actually to have that in their head to be able to engineer it and then code it.
I have a magic wand in my hand, and I want to give it to you, and I want you to tell me if you could wave that magic wand and say, this is how I would like my company to be in 5 years' time. And I'm looking back on the things that we've achieved, or I've got to a place where, that magic wand has delivered it. What would be parts of the solution that you have in mind?
The parts. So you're asking how I would see the company in 5 years, or what I would do now to like.
Well, how would you see the company in 5 years? But what are the steps that you would say? And during that 5 years, I'll have done this, I'll have done that, or whatever.
Yeah, I got you. One of the key things that I believe, and that's, I guess, the foundation of how I try to run the team, is basically to give the people the possibility to develop and take challenges. And it's now, I will guess it may not be consistent with what we've discussed, but yes, of course, we're focusing on our customers and we're focusing on their needs. But at the same time, I guess my interest is to focus on my team members, and so that they can do the best for our customers. I think this is the most important, and because every business is about relations, about communication, about people feeling secured and excited and engaged and committed and being a part of something big. And this is what, as a business leader now, I see that I want to focus on, because I won't be able to to do everything for the next 5 years, right? I need a team that can deliver great things, can create bold things, and I see during the next 100 days or year or 2 years, I see my goal here is building a great team, developing people, first of all, trust them, right? Give them possibility to be creative, to solve problems. And quite often, there is like a thing that when customers come to consultants or service providers, they're like, I need the expert who has done it like 100 times, right? Mm-hmm. But quite often the expert who has done it 100 times might not be so excited about doing that 101st time, right?
No,
and
exactly.
It's like quite often it's the person who is doing that for the first or second or third time is the most excited about this thing, and will go an extra mile or 10 miles to deliver the best result and the best value. And I believe in that. I believe that people, we need to give opportunities to people to try something new. If today you try this and tomorrow you want to try that, we want to find the way for you to do that. That will make the people happy. That will I don't know about
you, Kevin, but that's a wonderful philosophy that Marian's got. But
I love that philosophy.
Where did you get your inspiration from when you were younger?
Where did I get my
because you're a leader now. It's quite clear, and your English, by the way, is unbelievably good.
Thank you.
And but sorry, that's almost like an aside. We've conducted an entire podcast in English with you, but the inspiration, was it parents or was it somebody at university? Where did you get that drive that you clearly have got?
Where did I get that drive? And that's a very good question. I think that it comes from university, where I was so there was this state competition across. So I come from telecommunication industry, and in university I studied telecommunications, and we had this national competition across major universities that have telecommunications department. And there was always it was a yearly competition where a team from a team of students was given a problem, a challenge from one of the biggest mobile operators in Ukraine, from the industry. And we had, like, as a team, we had to go through the entire project, from understanding like the problem to like breaking it down into pieces, to taking into account all the technical aspects, business aspects, design the solution. And then once again, it shouldn't be like, a ready solution that can be implemented, but like a proof of concept, prove it works, and then present it in front of all the teams and industry representatives and academia representatives. And this teamwork lasted for 3 or 4 months every year. And first I started as a member of this team, but the next years I was a supervisor of those teams. And it was always so exciting to work. We stayed late quite often, especially closer to the deadline. We stayed really late at the department. We brainstormed, we polished our results, we talked how we can convey it in the most clear way. And I think it was always very intensive and exciting. We love the subjects, we love that we actually get to solve real problems. That was a real problems given us by the industry, and we had to apply our knowledge and skills to solve it. And again, the competition was quite challenging. It gave even more drive. So I think that this was one of the foundations that gave me this feeling of a team, how important that is, and the drive that comes from being a part of the team that solves some problem in real life.
Did you win the competition?
Yeah. Well, when I was the team member, we actually took the 3rd place. But the next years we were taking first place pretty much every year. So that was a fantastic result.
They just needed Marian as a leader, just as you are now, and somehow you brought the best out of people.
Well, I hope so. I hope that I bring the best out of people, and if this is, then I'm very happy about what I'm doing.
I don't know about you, Kevin, but Marian is an incredible individual and runs a brilliant business. And if you're interested in software development of any kind, get onto his webpage. It's Unillence, and it's spelt wrong because he's got 2 L's in it. What on earth is he doing? It's UNILLENCE. But you can't help engineers.
I'll settle for that sort of spelling mistake as long as he doesn't have any spelling mistakes in his code.
Well, I suppose there is that, yes. But is there a reason behind Unillence?
Yes, that's Lens stands for, first is unity, then goes intelligence and excellence. So that's like the second part.
Oh, okay, fair. I'll let you off. But unillence.com, go there, search them out. And if you can give them some business, then it'll help sustain the Ukraine economy. But also, you'll be working with somebody and a team that looks like they are well able to solve most software development problems. Today, you've been an absolutely first-rate guest on the Next 100 Days podcast. Thank you.
You might be looking for software development. You might be thinking about going overseas for some talent, good talent at a sensible price that you can communicate with and you can work with. And probably Ukraine isn't the first country on your list. But I think we've spotted some reasons there why perhaps that would be a wrong decision. An excellent operation.
Yeah, I think Marian's a really capable young man. I mean, at the end of the day, he's one of those people who's going to drag out opportunity from all of his team. He's going to support them to achieve excellence in the work that they're doing for clients. And if I'm looking for some software development for a startup, for instance, then who do I want? I mean, do I worry that they're in Ukraine? A little bit, maybe 1%. But the extra benefits that come from him being in Ukraine and living through this war they're amazing, because effectively it's developing in their people a wonderful sense of agility, of can do. He's going to have an amazing company on the other side of this.
And agility and can do are things that you want if you're a startup. Because you'll come along with an initial set of ideas. Yeah. You'll put something together. You'll realize that it isn't quite what's required. Either you've got the market wrong, or you realize that there's a slightly different need you should be addressing. And it's very normal for a startup to pivot once, twice, 3 times during the first 2 or 3 years of its life. Having some software developers that can work in a similarly agile fashion with you is exactly what you want.
He also seems to be pretty aware of real marketing challenges that, in particular, startups face. Yeah. They're often great at certain things and passion and raising money and all kinds of different things. But what they're doing is giving life to some of those ideas. That, having lived it myself at least once, if not twice, in my career, I know exactly the challenges and the heartache that goes with it. And the danger is too many bells and whistles. And that minimum viable product, that if they can get somebody to that point and the various aspects of it are aligned and they've got the right team across their range of services, well, you've got a real opportunity of not only being successful for your investors, but also that your users, the customers using your service, are going to be really delighted with your choices.
Yeah. And I think to understand that minimum viable product idea, look at one of my favorite companies, Apple. Look at the original iPhone. Look at the original Apple Watch.
Yeah.
They're probably nowhere near the product that was envisaged.
No.
Product that was envisaged is probably a lot closer to the product we're actually using today. But the first one was, what can we sensibly get to market that will interest people in as reasonably quick a time possible?
Well, it's been another wonderful podcast episode, this time with Marian Seliuchenko. And I think that
was nearly one for the outtakes reel.
Yeah, well, and forgive me, Marian, if you're listening to this, but basically, not the easiest name. I should have got him to say Aerosmith, shouldn't I? Then it'd have been
that would be a laugh.
Yeah, that would have been a laugh. Anyway, well, today I have been Graham Aerosmith,
and I have been Kevin Appleby. Goodbye.
Goodbye.